Well, howdy, it's Bill Rose, the armchair physicist. And you may already have heard that I figured out that time really doesn't exist. There's no past, no future. There's only now, then another now, and then another now. Time is an abstract concept. So therefore there can't be space-time. You can't have space abstract concept. Now, I was watching Nova tonight, and it's Wednesday, the 2nd of November, and they were talking about what is space. Well, I had worked on that years ago, and I came up to the conclusion that space basically is a vacuum, because things are weightless in space, correct? So, but then I realized that you can never have a perfect vacuum, because in order to have a vacuum you have to have a container. So let's say you pulled a vacuum in a glass clear crystal ball or whatever. Pulled a vacuum in it. Okay, and there's nothing in there now. Correct? Not correct. The inside walls of the crystal ball are inside the vacuum. So you can never have a perfect vacuum. And so, even though you've pulled a vacuum inside the crystal ball, if it's on Earth, things inside the crystal ball, if you could put something in there like a little BB or something, they wouldn't become weightless and float around, because you have the gravity of the planet working against that. But maybe if you did that in space, you could maybe drop a few plastic BBs in there, pull the vacuum, and then let it be in orbit, and see if these BBs would then start orbiting in some fashion. But anyway, what cracks me up about this program that was on Nova tonight is the fact that they say, I'm looking for a piece of paper, they say that they were showing how the Earth in space, this is a piece of paper, and we'll use this battery as the planet Earth. They say, well, Earth bends space because of its weight. It bends. You've all seen that, right? With the Earth bending the paper, or rather the space, down, and they said that's why, like, the moon orbits the Earth. But what if you're upside down? Like they're showing you from our standard point of view. If you're upside down, space is now bent away and down. Which is up and which is down? There's no up and down in space. There's no left or right, up or down. No north or south, east or west. So therefore, if the piece of paper, which represents space, is being bent down because of the weight of the Earth, but then you flip it upside down, can you say that it's being bent up because of the weight of Earth? No. So, to deal with three-dimensional things, you have to think three-dimensionally. So you have to throw out that thing about Earth, bending space. They show it to you from our perspective as if this is north of the ecliptic and this is south of the ecliptic, and they show it to you so that it's bending towards the south of the ecliptic, which is not right. Because if you're inverted, now suddenly it's being bent to the north of the ecliptic. See what I'm saying? So, and then if it's being bent up, then it's also being bent to the left and bent to the right, east and west, or whatever. So then you have to say, how much does the Earth weigh? If you could put a scale under it, and what would the scale show? But everything is weightless in space, so Earth would weigh 0, correct? And I made some notes on my hand here. So, rather than bending space because of the mass or the weight of planet Earth, and they show it being bent down, well, it should also be being bent up. You know, if it's bending gravity and bent east and west or left and right, you have to think three-dimensionally. But you know, if Earth weighs 0 in space, you know, how could it bend anything? And they're saying, well, you know, it bends space. And there was one experiment with Mercury showing that light bends because of the gravity of Mercury. But that doesn't necessarily mean that space is being bent, you know. So, in my opinion, that theory about Earth bending space or warping it or whatever is wrong, you know. So let me just say that, you know, time doesn't exist and space isn't being bent or warped. So we got to think about some new ideas here, you know, because it's only common sense, it's only logical to realize that if planets are weightless in space, and that's why they don't fall up or fall down or fall left or fall right, I would assume. Or maybe the whole galaxy is constantly falling, or one way or the other. Who knows? Maybe falling in the direction of the sun, but then the sun's, you know, also orbiting, you know, inside the galaxy. So, if it's constantly falling towards a greater mass of the galaxy, which way is the galaxy falling? And what mass is attracting that? So, okay, time doesn't exist and space isn't being warped by the weight of the planet Earth. That's my opinion. And let me just say this, you know, I'm not going to write any book. I'm not going to claim that I'm some great Einsteinian type physicist. I'm just using common sense, you know. So therefore I'm not going to make any money by writing a book, because I'm not going to write a book. But if you will click on some of these ads, even if you don't buy anything, then I'll make, you know, a few cents every time somebody clicks on the ad, and I can continue doing this. I mean, why should I do it for free, right?